We have seen how these political players do gang up during the election period. However, what is the way out of this particular scenario? Because we keep on blaming the leadership in place at the moment, and not to mention the scandalous first half period of President Uhuru Kenyatta and the DP William Ruto in 2013 and 17. But again, they seem to be resurfacing again. This pinches back the taxpayers at an alarming rate than what we have at hand, which is the VAT. Therefore, what is the way out of this? What is the permanent solution to this, so that we can get or put in place a leadership that prioritizes the welfare of the people? In this case, what ails them most rather than to ail them themselves?
I think we need thinkers. We have been wailing, and also Kenyans themselves have accepted that they've not been doing anything to save themselves. And most of the times when somebody is mentioned, you will see people saying they are targeting so-and-so or targeting a certain ethnic background. Mm-hmm. Kenyans should stop that. We should look at issues that affect our nation as Kenyans. And if somebody has embezzled and eaten alone, this person, when they were eating alone, they did not discuss how tasty the food was with other people. Okay. When they are now arraigned in court or something has happened, why should the clan come behind them? So Kenyans have accepted a lot of mismanagement. They have sat comfortable. When the prices now are hitting high, going up, that is the time they come out of their shells. The only solution with a Kenyan person is to come out of the bubble of comfort and say no to impunity. And as we start working together that way, we will be talking of some growth and evading some of these things that have derailed us as a nation. And I think this time the president has given us his X factor in leadership. He might have delayed in seeing this coming, yes, but I believe because now he is sober and looking into how to curb the problems Kenyans have, this particular one, I know he is not sleeping about it. Okay. He will come out and see what to do. But let us not just... He has been
passive about it, and when the bill was on the table for him, flew out to Beijing, China.
He delayed.
When there was clearly a groundswell of public opinion and disgruntled Kenyans expressing and talking on national televisions about how this is going to be impacting their lives. I mean, why was he passive towards that when he knew that it was going to be having a pinchback effect to the taxpayer?
Can I help her answer that? Yeah. Can I help her answer that? You see what's happening in this nation? Unfortunately, the bulk of it is run by cartels. Because these people had stocked up fuel, they had bought it at the older rate. They didn't buy it at this new rate. And they wanted to make money out of it. They told the president, you can go, stay there for a week or so. We shall have sold our stocks at the higher price. That margin of 20, 30 shillings per litre is unbelievable anywhere because they only make about 3 or 2 shillings per litre. So they will have sold their stocks. They will have made money in the millions. When the president comes back, it's okay, you can revert back to the old price. After all, we bought it at this normal price. We were to make 2, 3 shillings anyway. We've made about 20 or 25 shillings per litre. And it is okay. So if he comes and reverts it back to the old price, they'll be fine, they'll be happy. In fact, if they were asked, they would want him to stay a little longer, maybe a week or 2. But if the president is interested in doing this, I think that bill, there's no law in Kenya, and I can tell you this as a lawyer, that says the president must sign the finance bill from State House, Nairobi. He can sign that bill on a plane. He can sign it while in China. Yeah, I mean, it's an era of technology. It can be faxed to him. They can print it out. It can be emailed. And he can sign it while in China. And he's still the president of this republic, whether he's here or not here.
Okay, he just flew out of the country. He still remains to be the head of state. But does it mean, Fred, I'll come to you on this, does it mean, Ben Kinuthia, just as a follow-up, does it mean then that there is chronic capitalism in place of oligarchy, perhaps micromanaging the institution of the presidency in advising him to just travel out of the country, to let them out the hoarded petroleum, sell them to the stakeholders, and when they make the profit, even if the president comes to sign or signs from Beijing, then it will have no consequence whatsoever?
I'll only paraphrase it. The Chinese meeting was planned way before, so the cartels did not plan it. But they took advantage of the fact that that meeting was coming in place. And I think the president should come out and say clearly to Kenyans, I want to prove to you that I mean well for this nation. I am going to sign it, whether I'm going to be on a plane or in a hotel room in China, or in the State House of China, he needs to sign that bill and send it back to this nation so that we know that he means well for this country.
Okay, Fred, let me come to you on this. Clearly, then, the total passiveness of the head of state was a worrying scenario for the taxpayer. Fred, let's make sense out of this. At the end of the day, what the government will be making, according to economists or analysts in the economic field, is that they will make between 30 to 70 billion of the VAT imposed on the all petroleum products. However, that doesn't even form a bulk of 0.001% of the 5 trillion Kenya shillings that we need to pay. And of that 500 billion Kenya shillings, the Chinese owe us as a debt. We risk, losing our ports in the case of Senegal in Africa. And if they are going to be pledging or put into action, the second phase of the SGR, in which they pledged more than 300 billion, then the Chinese alone will be in a position to pay them back 1 trillion of the 5 trillion Kenya shillings. What strategy, how strategic does the Minister of Treasury need to be in this case? Because at some point we had a minister who came saying the country is broke. We have state officials who now say that the Big Four projects need money, so we are borrowing a lot so that we can bankroll the Big Four project ahead of 2022. How strategic should we be in playing our cards and avoiding the preconditioned loans or aid into the country so that we create safer generation for the coming generation?
I think there's a lot of money, Kenyan money, that has been stolen since way back, that is lying out somewhere. That if we fight the war on graft well, like the president had started, and sustain that momentum, we can start recovering all the monies and assets that have been stolen from Kenya and Kenyans. It might shock you how much money can be raised. So my argument is continuing taxing Kenyans is not going to help. There's too little that continued taxation is going to bring to the table in Kenya right now, because we have already taxed almost everywhere. So the government and the people who advise the government must start thinking outside the box and realize that there are other means and measures that can be employed to raise money and or other resources, which does not necessarily mean taxation. So my argument is the government should not use VAT on petroleum as a means of trying to finance whatever it is they're saying it cannot even finance the big one or a quarter of big one if that form of taxation. So we have to think outside the box, outside more taxation if you want to continue.
Okay, then if it doesn't even bankroll or be in a position